Good morning. Happy weekend. SSI, you've just prevailed in your SSI claim and you've been notified by the SSA that they have to do an interview with you. What is that about? It can be a little nerve-wracking, but here's what that generally is about. So you prevailed on the medical determination that you are disabled. So now they have to determine if you meet the non-medical criteria. They did a little bit of a review when you first applied to make sure that you feasibly met the non-medical criteria, which is the generally the financial criteria, because remember, SSI is needs-based. So they have to make sure that your countable resources and your income, if you have any, what that is, doesn't exceed the complete bar to receiving SSI. And if there is some, to what extent this would generally be income, to what extent it will reduce your SSI each month. So remember that SSI is a month-by-month consideration. So if you get in money one month out of the blue, or maybe you did one job for somebody, that's something that you have to report to the SSA. So during this interview, and it's called a Perk, P-E-R-C, they're going to find out, they're going to ask about your income. They're going to ask about resources. They have their ways of poking their fingers into bank accounts. So don't make the mistake of not knowing where your name is on various bank accounts, if you have bank accounts, or if you are titled with another family member, because that sometimes can mean that it is yours under the law. There may be ways to disprove that. That your name might have been on it for a different reason. There might be evidence that can be presented to show that that was not the intent of the account holding. It could have been for family convenience. Maybe an older, a parent or something wanted you on the account. But all those things you have to come up with. And another important question is going to be your living arrangements, because if you, and it's going to be from the time you are found disabled and eligible for SSI. So it's going to go back a little bit. For any month that you are given free room and board, and it wasn't just loaned to you by a family member or a friend, where they kind of deferred you paying them until you got back on your feet, got benefits, got a job, recovered, won the lottery, whatever. Those months, if you were given free and it wasn't an arrangement where you were going to pay them later, in which case there are ways to prove that too, to submit evidence of that. They will take away about a third of your SSI for each and every month, because SSI is supposed to cover some living expenses, and now you have them covered for free, and it wasn't a loan, so therefore why should you get it both ways, right? There's another video, I'm going to try to link it, I'll put it at the end here, about the form you can use along with the person who loaned you the shelter with the expectation that you're going to pay him back one day, that you can use if that's what happened, if that's what your living arrangement either started out as or became. I've had people where, originally it was kind of a gift, but then when it got really long in the tooth, it became a, hey, when you get back on your feet, you're going to, I want to start paying you back, or, we both agree that you should pay back. It's very common for it to be a soft loan in that way, that the arrangement is that you're going to pay it back. You just don't know when that's going to start, because you don't have any money yet. You don't know when you're going to recover. You don't know if you're going to prevail on a Social Security disability or an SSI claim. So that's going to be a big important thing. From going forward, you're going to always want to be very meticulous about your record keeping with any incoming monies, work monies. They're treated differently, earned and unearned income. But it's something that you really want to stay on top of, because if it comes up later because you didn't, you might find that you're in an overpayment situation, and that's really unpleasant and stressful. So, and you can't usually get an attorney for that because there's no real business model for them to be able to represent on that. You could probably get consultations, but not generally representation very often. Okay, so SSI, your next step is going to be that interview that they're going to want to have with you. Usually it's done over the phone. I'm assuming that if it was needed, it could be in person, but I don't know that you would need that. try to take notes as to what you're telling them, maybe, because sometimes I've seen it many times where the person talks about, all right, they got to start paying their back rent now, and the SSA still nails them a third off of all those back months, not recognizing that it was a lease, a verbal lease, a verbal renting where they just weren't paying timely because they didn't have it, and now they have all this back rent to pay. So that happens a lot where they kind of ignore it. So sometimes you're going to have to be the squeaky wheel if you find that you're not getting the full amount, either for past benefits or for prospective benefits. You have to get on top of it because they're not going to be looking to do it for you. Okay. All righty. I hope that helps. SSI, congratulations. And if you're ever interested in the information about going from SSI to Social Security Disability, we have some videos on that, if that's something that interests you. All right. Take care now.